I'd like to call the Tuesday, June 21st, 2016 Papillion City Council order. Ms. Butler, would you please take the roll?
Florence. Here. Mumgard. Here. Gaines. Here. Glover. Here. Jaworski. Here. Klug. Here. Stubbe. Here. Ingberg.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And do we have an affidavit of publication on file?
That is correct.
And a current copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of the council chambers. Next is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve consent? Motion by Councilman Stubbe, second by Councilwoman Klug. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item D1, Ordinance 1744. An ordinance to approve the change of zone of certain real property within the zoning jurisdiction of the City of Papillion, Sarpy County, Nebraska, legally described as a tract of land located in part of the south half of the northeast quarter of Section 29, and together with Lincoln Road right-of-way located in a part of southeast quarter of said Section 29, both located in Township 14 North, Range 12 east of the 6 p.m., Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located on the northeast corner of 114th Street and Lincoln Road from agricultural AG to single-family residential medium density R2, to amend the official zoning map of the City of Papillion by changing the zoning district boundaries of the zoning map in accordance with Section 20532 of the Papillion Municipal Code and to provide for an effective date. Is there a council member that will introduce? Introduced by Councilman Stubbe. Thank you. E1, Ordinance 1735, an ordinance to approve the change of zone of certain real property within the zoning jurisdiction of the City of Papillion, Sarpy County, Nebraska, legally described as a tract of land located in the southeast quarter of Section 20, Township 14 North, Range 12 east of the 6 p.m., Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located northwest of 114th Street and Cornhusker Road, from agricultural AG to mixed-use MU, to amend the official zoning map of the City of Papillion by changing the zoning district boundaries of the zoning map in accordance with Section 20532 of the Papillion Municipal Code and to provide for an effective date. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any proponents? And if you'd state your name for the record.
Good evening. Amy Lawrenson, Barrett Home, 1700 Farnham Street, Suite 1500. I'm here tonight on behalf of Thrasher Inc. and G&T Properties LLC. Of course, the applicant on here. I don't anticipate much for questions, but I wanted to make sure we were available in case there were any.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other proponents? Do we have any opponents? I'll close the public hearing. Next is item E2, Ordinance 1739, an ordinance to amend the budget statement to be termed the annual appropriation bill, which was adopted on November 17, 2015, by ordinance number 1725 to appropriate sums for necessary expenses and liabilities and to provide for an effective date. This is an amendment to the 2015-2016 budget. I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? I'll close the public hearing. Item E3, Ordinance 1741, an ordinance imposing an additional City of Papillion sales and use tax at the rate of 0.5%, increasing the total city sales and use tax rate from 1.5% to 2%, to approve related actions and to provide for severability and the effective date. This is a public hearing, and I'll open the public hearing. Do we have proponents? Do we have any opponents? Close the public hearing. Item E4, Ordinance 1742, an ordinance to amend in its entirety Chapter 175, Article 2, Section 20 of the Papillion Municipal Code, having to do with sales and use tax, to adopt and recognize the increase of the city's sales and use tax rate from 1.5% to 2%, and to provide for severability and the effective date hereof. It's a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Do we have proponents? Do we have any opponents? Close the public hearing. Item F1, Ordinance 1736, an ordinance to amend Chapter 9, Article 3, Section 6, having to do with the appointment and membership of the Planning Commission. Chapter 9, Article 3, Section 7, having to do with the term, removal, vacancies, compensation, and other municipal offices of the Planning Commission. Chapter 9, Article 3, Section 8, having to do with the organization, keeping of records, funding, quorum, meetings, duty, and review of the Planning Commission to provide for an effective date. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 1736? Motion by Councilman Glover. Second by Councilman Gaines. Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
And related to that item is F2, Resolution R160085, a resolution to approve the appointment of John Robinson III as the alternate member of the Planning Commission for a 3-year term from June 2016 to June 2019. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R160085? Motion by Mr. Stubbe, second by Councilwoman Klug. Do you have any proponents? The applicant's here. Mr. Robinson, you just want to introduce yourself?
John Robinson III, 808 Janesview Street, Apartment 13, Papillion, Nebraska, 68046.
Appreciated you reaching out. We've had a lot of discussions over the last probably 2 years. I think
Yes.
you started about 2 years ago saying you wanted to get involved, and I think you've seen him about every meeting that we've had during that time, and we ended up having the opening on the Planning Commission through the alternate, and we do think the alternate will be actively used. So Mr. Robinson should be a very active member of the Planning Commission. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any other proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Welcome to the Planning Commission. Next is item F3, Resolution R160074, a public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a preliminary plat for the property legally described as a tract located in the southwest quarter of Section 20, Township 14 North, Range 12 East of the 6th PM, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located northwest of 114th Street and Cornhusker Road. The applicant is GNT Properties LLC, Thrasher's Edition. This is a public hearing, and I'll open the public hearing. Do I have proponents? The applicant is here.
Hello again. Amy Lawrence and Barrett Home. Again here just to be present in case there are any questions on this or the next resolution.
Very good. Thank you very much. Do we have any other proponents? Any opponents? Close the public hearing. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution R160074? Motion by Councilwoman Klug. Second by Councilman Stubbe. Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. A related item is F4, Resolution R160075. A resolution to approve a comprehensive plan amendment to change the future land use designation from Greenway to Mixed Use 2, Commercial Industrial, for the property legally described as a tract located in the southwest quarter of Section 20, Township 14 North, Range 12 East of the 6th PM, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located northwest of 114th Street and Cornhusker Road. The applicant is GNT Properties LLC, Thrasher Edition. It's a public hearing. I'll open it. Proponents, you don't have to get up again, unless you want to. Do we have any other proponents? Any opponents? For the record, the applicant is here. I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R160075? Motion by Councilman Gaines. Second by Councilman Glover. Any council discussion? Ms. Klug.
Yeah, I was just wanting to do a follow-up on some of these areas with Thrasher. I've noticed on several of our recommendation it says contingent upon the resolution of all staff comments. I was wondering if Mr. Sturzma could maybe tell us how we're coming with those.
Is this specific on a certain application?
It's more just I want to have at least a feel-good that they're coming to the table and they're meeting the requirements that we as a city have set forth that we expect of our new developers when they're coming in, or existing developers as they make changes to what we already have here.
I think I'll speak just generally versus every item in the staff report. I would say yes, absolutely. We've been meeting with them on a regular basis. On our preliminary plats, we're trying to work closely with all of our applicants to get them to the city council as quickly as we can, while still addressing all of the concerns of staff. In this case, we were working on a rather complicated application because their property And then the NRD's property, there were some alignment issues that we got resolved, which I think we did get resolved. But those comments remain in the staff report. They have agreed to address those, but for the sake of time, we're leaving that as a contingency to get them here faster. That's why you're starting to see more of that in your staff reports at this level. So for this application, at this time, I'm fully confident that they have or can address the comments that are in the staff report.
Excellent. That's what I wanted to make sure of, is because location of where they're at is going to potentially impact a lot of citizens. And I just want to make sure we're getting the feel good that they have the ability and the wherewithal to follow through on any potential issues. So if you're feeling good, I appreciate that.
Any other council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item F5, Resolution R160080, a public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a special use permit to allow automotive rental sales as a permitted use on the property legally described as Lot 2, Cedardale Industrial Park. A subdivision is surveyed, platted, and recorded in Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located at 1107 Applewood Drive. The applicant is Midlands Auto and Truck Services, LLC, Midlands Auto and Truck Services. This is a public hearing. I'll open it. Do we have any proponents?
Good evening. My name is Molly Miller. I'm an attorney with Adams & Sullivan, and we represent Mr. LeBlanc and Midlands Auto. I'm sure you've all seen the report. What he's seeking is a special use permit to add an additional service to the ones that he's already providing to the community. It's not substantially changing the primary focus. His focus right now is strictly auto repair, not body work. It's the internal part of the car. And he's just asking for the ability to add a licensing for him to be able to buy and sell vehicles, whether it's to buy them from customers that come in and don't have the financial ability to repair the vehicles that they brought in, or if they're in need for additional ones that he can go out and seek them for his current customers, in addition to providing work for those employees that he has. If things get a little slow, he'll have a car for them to work on. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any other proponents? Do we have any opponents? Close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R160080? Motion. Motion by Councilman Gaines. Second. Second by Councilman Jaworski. Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is committee reports. Public Safety Committee did meet tonight. Any report out from that? And I think a new chairman was elected, so I don't know who to look to.
Under protest, a new chairman was elected. I was on the elevator when yeah, we did meet. We reviewed the concerns of some of the citizens that have made complaints about our noise level and our noise policies. We went through those. We made some recommendations to staff. Staff is going to review that some more and gather some more information, and then either one of the meetings in July will come back with a recommendation to the full council. And at that time, hopefully, we can make some changes that will be acceptable to some of the concerns. So,
appreciate it. Thanks for all the work on that. Do we have any comments from the floor? No comments from the floor. Any other council comments? Just a couple of things from the last couple of weeks. Mayor Kindig from La Vista and myself and Dr. Rickley hosted, I'm not sure what we're calling it yet, Community Connections. We reached out to a number of different civic, public and private organizations that probably deal in the realms of mental health, thinking that that's an area that affects people in the community and it's got a broad impact. Somebody's got a mental health type issue, and if they don't know how to deal with that, a lot of times it comes to a head like on a 911 call, and next thing we know we got a public safety issue when really it was a mental health issue early on. That shows up in the police department, it shows up in the fire department, it shows up at the ER at the hospital, it shows up in the schools. So we thought that's something that really has a broad impact. If we can together figure out maybe a way to raise awareness of some things that are out there, maybe we can address some of those things before they get into those, because if it's handled as a public safety issue or a criminal issue or a fire issue, that's starting to get pretty expensive, and that's a taxpayer expense. So we're just the simple things we can do, and so I think we're going to be meeting as a group for about probably about 4 or 5 months just to see if there's some simple solutions of raising awareness. So we had our kickoff meeting, and I think it went very well. Both Chief Lyons and Chief Bose were there. Also attended with some of the staff, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Sturzma, a meeting on the expansion of West Lincoln in regards to the park expansion. So what's the footprint of the street look like from 84th to 96th? And I think there was some good discussions held there. They're still working through design concepts. Also had a meeting with some of the new leadership at Black Hills Energy. They've had a little bit of turnover, but it's long-term people there that are still in the organization, so just meeting them again and building, that's an important relationship. And I think we might have some ideas as maybe some focused economic development things that Black Hills and Papillion can do together to help us both. Also, thanks to everybody on Papillion Days. I think we can go around and give a lot of thanks on that, but the foundation does a tremendous amount of work. Marty and Public Works and Tony and Parks and both the chiefs with police and fire, a lot of time and resources, and Lori, you get tapped. So just thanks to everybody for Papillion Days. I don't think I heard a complaint. So no tornadoes, no high winds, no big rains, just heat. So thank you for that. Lori and I met with Nebraska Christian College. They are now part of Hope International University out of California. Hope International, though, still views Nebraska Christian Campus and Papillion as very strategic to what they're doing. And so we talked about the focus of that campus and maybe some partnerships there, because they have a need for them, like they run a sports program, so they have a need for golf courses and that. So we want to keep those activities in Papillion. So we're raising awareness of what rec has to offer, and then are there any other partnerships that we might have. Also had a meeting today with Sarpy County Economic Development on an active project they've got. They will be submitting an application for a project that will start coming before the Planning Commission and City Council in the next couple of months. Reminder, the farmers market started back up. You should have an invitation at your desk from the Veterans Administration. The newest national cemetery in the United States is in Papillion's jurisdiction, and that dedication is the morning of August 5th. And they've decided to have the dedication at Sumter Amphitheater. So the Secretary of the VA, who reports to the President, we think will be here. Both governors in Nebraska and Iowa will be invited. Federal delegation from around the region will be invited. So they're expecting 800 to 1,000 people at the event. So put that on your calendar and come out. Mr. Lemming wants to made a note, very important. Schramm Road, 84th to 90th, will be closed effective Monday, and probably remain closed. I think we're telling residents right now through November, and that's for the completion of that road. So if you get any calls on that being closed, that project is finally being done. So I think the residents are going to be glad to put up with that inconvenience. We do have a closed session tonight, so is there a motion to go into a closed session to protect the public interest to discuss land negotiations pertaining to parks? Motion by Councilman Glover, second by Councilwoman Klug. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. I will restate for the record, the purpose of the closed session is only to discuss land negotiations pertaining to parks. Closed session will include the mayor, the city council, city attorney, city clerk, and the planning director.